Assalamu alaikum. Here we are at Maryam alayhi salam's house. I believe that this is from the 1890s and has something to do with a nun's dreams or visions. So it's not necessarily a historical locale. It's considered a holy site by many Roman Catholics, Eastern Christians, Muslims, because of a common veneration that we have, a common respect and love that we have for Maryam alayhi salam. It's interesting at this location you can see some connections to earlier goddess worship, lighting of candles, leaving of flowers at the altar. It's a very beautiful location. I'm not saying that I'm not looking into whether it's right or wrong at this point. What's going on, because people we can't read people's intentions or what they're, if they're worshiping Allah, if they're just showing respect for Maryam. It's interesting to me. It's a lovely location. So we've got the Virgin Mary, and an issue that's interesting to consider is the concept of her virginity. Virginity suggests purity, not being touched by a man. As far as I know, all Christian traditions and all major Christian traditions, at least the surviving ones, as well as the Islamic tradition, acknowledge that leading up to conception, she had been untouched by a man, so she was a virgin and chaste in that sense. The tradition of Christianity that I grew up with did not acknowledge her as being a lifelong virgin. I was actually quite shocked when I met Muslims who were very, very attached to the concept of her being a lifelong virgin, which to me is a very Eastern Christian concept, which is very interesting. Because I grew up with, if you look at the biblical texts, it suggests that she was engaged to Joseph, and then she conceives, and then they tried to disparage her reputation and say that she was doing something unbecoming and problematic. She winds up having the baby, baby Isa, baby Jesus, and then is he's born in Bethlehem according to biblical texts, in an animal farm, in an animal barn, in a manger. And then the three wise men come. Maybe they were Sabians, maybe they were Zoroastrians, and they come and bring gold, frankincense, and myrrh to honor this newborn Messiah that some were viewing as a potential king, because anointing is often connected with kingship in ancient Hebrew tradition. And then they had to go into hiding for a number of years in Egypt after that to escape Herod, because Herod was pulling a Pharaoh, and he had heard about this newborn who was going to be born and potentially take his crown from him and take his authority from him. So he was killing the newborn male children. Many Western scholars have said that they found no historical accuracy to this, that it was a story. I'm not looking into that at this point, but what's interesting to me is that in the Eastern Christian tradition, and that he was considered to have been the only child of Miriam, and that she remained a virgin through her life. There are other texts in the Bible that say that Jesus actually had brothers and sisters, including James the Just. The book of James is connected to, he was considered a brother of Jesus. And so Christian scholars have looked into the issue and said, well, maybe it's speaking of cousins. Maybe it's speaking of brothers and sisters born to Mary and Joseph later. It's interesting, according to Muslims that I've talked to, there's no indication that she even ever married Joseph, and that and there's a belief that she was a lifelong virgin. So this is interesting to me. On some level, it really doesn't affect my understanding of who Allah is and who the prophets are, and it doesn't impact my personal faith. I'm interested in knowing everything I can about all of the prophets, and obviously, Maryam alayhi salam as well. So anyway, it's worth considering. I'm very interested in learning more. If you have links or ideas, feel free to share them in the comments. I'd like to look more into this. to better understand, and I'm interested in other people's perspectives, and the various Christianities and various views from the Islamic world. I'd be interested in seeing how the various Shia groups look at it, versus various Sunni groups and the scholars. So anyway, here we are at the house of Maryam alayhi salam, and may we seek and find what is actually true, and may we find the connections between us and cultivate a sense of common humanity in order to overcome the devils in this realm and all evil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.